Welcome to another deep dive. And you have brought in some really fascinating stuff for us to look at this time.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking at this book called Miro's Dream. And this is a book full of art and poetry, and it's inspired by Joan Miro.
Yeah, and what's really kind of interesting is we have, not just the book, but we have these descriptions of like the individual images.
Yeah.
It's like we're peering into, the artist's process as they went along.
It's almost like having E.J. Gold, who is the artist, sitting right here with us being like, and here's what I was thinking when I made this one.
Right, exactly.
And we also have excerpts from the book itself. So we can kind of get a feel for this whole dreamlike narrative it creates.
Yeah, and the fact that this all ties back to Miro, who, a giant of the surrealist movement, it just adds another layer of complexity, I think. So I'm really curious to see how these pieces fit together.
Absolutely. So let's dive in. So first things first, Miro's Dream is volume 1 of the Gateways Fine Art series. And it was published back in 1988.
All right.
And what's interesting is it doesn't seem to be your typical art book, right? We've got these drawings by Gold, but then there's also poetry by Ivan Laurie and then commentary by Linda Corvo.
It's like a multimedia exploration.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And speaking of Miro, it sounds like Gold was really, really taken by his early years in Paris, which were pretty rough. Apparently he was living on basically a meal a week, dried figs and chewing gum just to get by.
Yeah, that detail about the sparse diet really stuck with me because I was thinking about that in relation to what, the surrealists were all about, like the whole idea of exploring the subconscious.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, like the world of dreams.
Yeah.
And, deprivation can do some pretty crazy things to your mind.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
And it's no coincidence, right, that Miro's art from that period is full of these bizarre hallucinatory images.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So Gold is picking up on that connection, like how Miro's struggles may have, fueled his creative fire in a way.
Yeah, and remember, Gold isn't just like an art enthusiast.
Right.
He's a transformational psychologist.
Yes.
And so that background seems to inform how he interprets and reimagines Miro's work in Miro's Dream.
Okay, so I definitely want to come back to that whole psychology angle in a bit. But first, can we talk about Miro's style for a second?
Yeah.
Because even if you're not an art connoisseur or anything, his stuff is just instantly recognizable.
Oh, absolutely.
Gato.
Yeah, it's so unique. And it's like this mix of the playful and the kind of unsettling too. At the same time, you've got those, stars and moons, these disconnected objects just floating around.
Very dreamlike, yeah.
Very dreamlike. And then you have those figures.
Like the ones with the giant eyes.